2017, the military gathered a small group of scientists to try and bring the Quantum Leap time travel project back online. 5 years later, believing it was the only way to save his fiance's life, Dr. Ben Song risked everything when he entered the accelerator to travel back in time. He awoke to find himself in the past, facing mirror images that were not his own, and driven by an unknown force to change history for the better. I wonder where they got that from. Ben believed he could only need to complete 18 leaps before he could return to the place and people he calls home. But something went wrong, and for reasons unknown, Ben did not leap home.
Spoiler alert.
The new Saga Cell.
Yes, a new Saga Cell. Hello, everybody. Yes. This is Damon Sugamelli and my co-hosts, Mike Bloxam, Brian Greene, and MJ Cogburn. And we are talking about the new season of Quantum Leap. It is back after, what's it been, like 5 months, I believe?
Yeah.
And the strike is, well, one of the strikes is over. The writer's strike is over. So I guess we'll talk about that a little more. Hopefully we get at least 5 more, maybe 10. Hopefully we'll get a full season. Let's hope.
That would be nice.
Yeah, yes. That would be nice. The season premiere, episode 1, was titled "This Took Too Long," which I thought was a very strange title, and I think it kind of makes some sense after watching it. The original title was Stranded when all the stuff went up, so I don't quite know why they changed it. I don't know if that was an in-joke with the "This Took Too Long" with the strike. I don't know. But anyway, instead of leaping home as expected, Ben finds himself in 1978 aboard a top-secret military flight transporting mysterious cargo. When the flight comes under attack, the plot deepens as Ben and the crew discover the sobering truth behind their mission. So, and we have Raymond Lee as Dr. Ben Song, Caitlin Bassett as Addison Augustine, Mason Alexander Park as Ian Wright, Nanrissa Lee as Jen Chu, and Ernie Hudson as Magic. We do not have the new cast members yet. Maybe, I guess, the next episode, I'm thinking, or at least one of them. And our guests...
We won't know.
Wait, what was that?
I said, we won't know.
We don't know. Oh, the original air date... Yeah, the original air date was October 4th, 2023. And our guest cast was Francois Arnaud. Is that how you say his name? Francois Arnaud. As Bailey, Aaron Abrams as Ronnie, PJ Byrne as Enoch, and special guest star Melissa Roxburgh as Lieutenant Greer. This was written by Martin Gero and directed by John Terlesky. The leap date, as we said, 1978. It is somewhere over Russia. And did we get a first name? It was just Perez for who he leaped into?
Mike Perez.
I must have missed that.
I think at one point they finally said it.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah, I think I missed it somewhere anyway. So I'm going to let you guys give your first impressions on all this. What do you guys think? I guess we'll start with you, Mike.
Sure. Well, you said 1978, somewhere over Russia. They weren't over Russia very long.
No, they weren't.
Pretty quick to land, however you want to call that.
Crash and burn.
Overall, what I did like was it was primarily set in the leap. We didn't have a heavy amount of project stuff. The few flashbacks, fine. They were fitting. So it was nice. I felt like this one kind of told the whole story they wanted to tell, as opposed to some of the season 1 episodes where they were forcing in the project scenes, as I think we've complained in the past about feeling kind of CSI-ish or something to that degree. So yeah, I enjoyed the story. A couple of plot holes that niggled at me a bit, but overall, I enjoyed the episode. A good kickoff to season 2, I think.
Yeah, I think so. So, Brian, you want to go next?
Sure. I enjoyed it. I liked that it was predominantly leap based. The story was pretty good. I liked the comedic timing with the two brothers.
Yeah.
So that there was some good stuff in there. Indiana Jones like
Mhm.
stuff at the beginning, and all that. I thought it kind of moved a little slow in some parts. I recorded with the Quantum Leap podcast earlier, and I kind of said the same thing there. That it was kind of middle of the road for me on that one. But overall, it was good. The twist at the end, really gets you thinking what's going to happen next. So you got a little bit of stuff with the project there to look forward to, but not too much in this one. I sort of missed some of the characters from the project actually because we've seen so much of them lately in the last season. All of a sudden, you don't get to see any of them except in flashbacks. I did like the flashbacks though. I thought seeing Addison in the suit and everything was kind of neat as they were testing, and it kind of sets that up too. So that was interesting too, and to find out that he's leaped. The flashback is the day before their date. So that was interesting too. So there's some fun stuff in there, but I sort of missed the other characters, even in spite of wanting the Leap story mostly. I still kind of missed them now. So we'll see what happens next episode.
Yeah. Okay, MJ.
Do you really want me to say anything? No.
Sure.
I really enjoyed the Leap. I really did. I really enjoyed it. It was just. I don't know how I can put it. In the original series, we learned more about Sam throughout the Leaps, and toward the end, he realizes, he gets his memories semi back, and he's into it a little bit more. I remember this, I remember that, I remember this. This Leap, first off, he remembers everybody and knows that it's 2023 that he leapt from.
Right.
And he remembers big chunks of his memory throughout the whole show. Well, where's that going to take him? Is he going to forget stuff as he goes, or is he going to continue to remember stuff? Is that part of the whole thing? Is he going to, I don't know where they're going with that. So that was just like, wow, he remembers so much more already. So
yeah,
and all the flashbacks showed that, especially with all the fiance. My fiance said.
Oh yeah. To keep correcting himself, like did you hit your head? I think you hit your head harder than you thought you did, Perez.
You might need to see a doctor.
Yeah. Maybe. I think there's something wrong with you.
We don't need to talk about that right now. I'm going to go over here.
You did that a lot.
That was funny.
You did that a lot.
That was funny.
We don't need to talk about that.
Yeah, I did like that.
Just forget I said that.
I think that the producers, they sort of implied that they didn't want him to forget all the time, that this was, I guess they don't want it to be like the old show in that way, and that they want him to constantly, like, they don't want him, once he learns things, they don't want him to forget stuff. That I thought I heard them say that in
understand that, but why
interviews.
do it all so fast?
I mean, he did gradually remember stuff though over the course of the first season. I feel. And the finale, he kind of like it all came back because he was like literally himself. Right. So
But he was at the project though for that.
Right. Oh, but that's what I mean.
It makes sense that he would remember it. He's there.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Sorry, naysayer.
No, I know.
It's good.
No, I get what you're saying. It's a valid point. They can't. Yeah, I mean, if he remembers everything, then what is there left to remember? I get what you're saying. Right. I get it.
Well, he even claimed in this episode that there was still large chunks of his memory missing when he was talking to himself / Addison, who wasn't there.
Yeah.
Which I kept wondering throughout the whole thing. Well, where the hell is Addison? Where is she? Why isn't she showing up yet? Well, there you go.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll get a little more into that.
Yeah.
We should probably go over some of the plot points. So he basically
Can I say
was.
one thing?
Yeah, sure.
Brian brought this up about the Indiana Jones kind of niggle there at the very beginning when they're talking about this mysterious crate. And I was like, it's some sort of alien interdimensional device that the government stumbled upon. Like, you mean like Roswell? No. Roswell was a hoax. Angel Fire. Now that's what, I'm like, what's Angel Fire?
So that was actually, I forgot to put it on my notes. That's the first thing I noticed when they were talking about all this stuff. And us in the know who know about episodes that are coming up, this is definitely foreshadowing some plot points that they're going to visit. Without giving too much away, they are.
Oh,
right,
so they're
Brian?
going to talk about Angel Fire.
Ready to get back in. All right, so if you're watching this on YouTube, we had some technical difficulties, and we're switching over to Skype to try to finish this review. So, okay, so where were we? We were
talking about some possible foreshadowing with the references.
Yeah, if anybody's seen the trailer, you kind of know what most of the the years and things. So if there's something in there about, they mentioned something about Roswell and other stuff. So we'll see. That's kind of where I was thinking where they were leading with that whole conversation. Like, oh, this is clever what they're doing. So yeah,
Aliens.
so it's yeah, maybe. The Indiana Jones thing, I'll jump ahead to that, what we were saying about. I couldn't help but think that across my mind when he's on the landmine and they're talking about the the substitution of the weights, and if we make it a little less, I don't know how accurate that is, but if we make it a little less each time.
And then throw sand on it at the end, then hopefully we won't all explode.
It was
the thing that bothered me about that was that, one of them would step on it and the other one would step off, but the other two were still standing there. Like if it didn't work, they were all going to die anyway.
Yeah.
That...
Yeah, if you're done your turn, you GTFO.
Right.
Well, what really killed me about that whole part of the show was how in the flip, I'll say it that way, how in the flip did she see that wire?
Yeah.
Here they're going at least 30, 40 miles an hour. How are you going to see a wire that you're not supposed to see and slam on the brakes and be like, oh, look, there's that wire?
You know what? I did think the exact same thing. That was the one thing that was like, really? Come on.
That is where if Ben had a hologram, the hologram would go, whoa, Ben, stop. That's what should have happened.
Like Al did.
In Vietnam. Yeah. Tripwire.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I guess she just had an eagle eye.
Yeah. I really want to know about the Abrams brothers' betrayal. I don't know. And here he is saying, something's been weighing on me, and it's a betrayal. It's a secret that I can't even take to my grave. And what? What was it? We'll never know.
Yeah.
I thought that was going somewhere too, and I'm like,
yeah.
What is this? What?
Never know.
At the end, he says, I did laugh. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were mentioning about the comedic moments between them, and I did find that funny, but at the same time, after a while, it was like, like, okay, and it's like they were almost trying too hard to be a little comedic between the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, some of like the facial expressions they made, I think when they were talking about the like, does anybody want to say something about the pilot that died in this crash?
I know exactly
Yeah.
what they say. I
And
wrote
the
it
guys,
all
the guys
down.
are thinking, what?
He loved his home state of Iowa. He was from Idaho. I knew it was one of the Iowans.
I actually didn't get that they were brothers either. I don't know where that. It's in like the I think the casting or whatever when
Yeah.
you look it
Well,
up. I didn't
no,
get
Says
that.
it
in
when
the
she
in the
comes in.
very first scene when she comes in, they're arguing. They're going to open the crate.
Mm-hmm.
We can open this to where no one knows that we opened it. And she says, if you open that, the Abrams line will be done
Oh.
with.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I
So
thought
that's
she
how
was
you
just
know that they
threatening
were
one of them.
brothers.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I kind of
Okay.
missed that. Yeah.
That
Okay.
makes more sense now.
Yes. Okay. Right.
I'll have to
Okay.
rewatch.
Yeah, it's I definitely will want to rewatch it.
I also had a question about how they all made it down so safely, with only minor scrapes and bruises. And then she's like, the pilot, he was a mean man. He was very, very angry soul. But when it mattered most, he knew how to get his plane down to where we could survive.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So that was the reason. Okay.
Right.
But everything explodes in a great pyrotechnic way.
Big ball of fire. Yeah, big.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I had heard that they like in the podcasts they talked about that they heard that there was supposed to be like really like a lot of even special effects, even more than the finale. And I thought that they were going to be referring to like some weird sci-fi stuff, but like no, they're just talking about some action-packed like yeah, they never quite did that in the original show with like something like that with a big explosion like
Yeah, the special
like
effects were
that.
really good, and they
Yeah.
didn't use stock footage this time either. That was created for the show, so that was amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we should talk about, I guess, like we said, some of those actors. Yeah, so the special guest star was Melissa Roxburgh, and I think I saw one episode of Manifest because that's what I think she's like a lead character in that. So you guys didn't watch Manifest at all?
No.
No.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Nope.
So we can't talk about that, but I think I saw the one episode.
Oh, sorry.
Oh yeah,
Go
no.
ahead.
Oh, I think I saw like the first episode of it, and I mean, I kind of remember her character a bit. I mean, she did seem like probably the best actor out of all of them, out of the guest cast. That's what I'll say about that. So, what were you going to say, MJ? Sorry.
I don't know where, and I'm still gonna probably say his name wrong. PJ Byrne, BYR.
Byrne, I think. Yeah.
Byrne.
Yeah.
I don't know what show we were watching because we've watched several movies in a row. But I know I saw him just recently in something else, but I can't remember what show it was in. I want to say it was Supernatural, but I don't think that's correct.
Oh, yeah.
But sure. he was really good, so I thought he played his part really well. Yeah,
and so which one was he? Was he the one that I said was like making the face when there was like, oh, I'll talk about it? He was the one, not Enoch, the other brother?
Yes, no, Enoch.
Oh, he's Enoch.
Glasses.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
The other one was the other brother is Ronnie.
Okay.
Aaron Abrams.
Yeah, he was. Okay, yeah, he was. Yeah, that's what I was saying. The other brother, it was like the comedy was good, but it kind of was a little annoying after a while. That's just how I took that. But yeah, the PJ Byrne was. Yeah, I liked his acting in it. Yeah. I do kind of like what they did with the flashbacks. They kind of, if you saw the trailer at the end of season 1, when the finale and they showed Addison in the Fermi suit, they kind of like fooled us into thinking that maybe that meant that she was going to be trying to leap after him, but they were just showing a flashback of when she actually was on the test for it.
And they hit on that really well, I thought. Whenever they're in that the first flashback, and Ben and Magic are talking, and Magic says, "It's hard as it is. It's hard for the time traveler." But I think it's even harder on the people left behind. There's no adventure. There's just the longing. And I thought, wow, that was really poetic.
Yeah.
That really hit it home.
Yeah, I did like that. Yeah. I mean, they mentioned Sam again by name, and they even said when Sam left, his wife and outlined. It's like they did mention his wife.
Yep.
People are wondering.
And they all knew the risks.
And it's interesting because when he first left, he did not have a wife.
That's right.
that's a new timeline.
That leads us to believe that she still was his wife after the leap back. And throughout the series. So yeah, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah. And the fact that they did, I do kind of like how they bookended with the season finale by going back to basically right before the season finale. It was literally the day before he leaped in. So, and I can't help but wonder if that did change something, like more than we think it did. I mean, I don't know if that's what that means when have the season 2 poster that says one leap can change everything. I don't know if that's what any of this means, or if that's playing out into part of what the storyline for the season is. I don't know.
I think it kind of leads back to the original. Because one leap did change everything.
That is true.
Look at this season. Look at this season finale. The very last scene. Al gets back with Beth.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
So, and then they show Beth in this show. So everything lines up.
Yeah. Yeah, what I was thinking is, like, more specifically that they showed a scene with again, it's getting a little into spoiler, not too much, but they're showing a scene with Jen saying something about a butterfly effect to end all butterfly effects. So I guess maybe that might be in the next episode. I don't know, but that was in the was that in the trailer?
Yeah, it was.
It was in the trailer. Yes.
And they said that over when the new character Hannah was on screen.
Right.
So she may have something to do with that as well, because she's supposed to be a series regular, according to the news that came out.
Yeah. And that's interesting.
And that's episode 3, I think they said.
Yeah, and I said it in I did a reaction to the trailer that it's interesting because Ben is talking to her as if she's there, and if she's a regular, what the heck does that mean? So I am intrigued by that. That is, I will admit that I'm intrigued by this and seeing where this is going. I wanted to throw it out there. I did see you mention it, Brian, that Donald P. Belisario is not officially credited as a producer anymore.
Not listed as a producer in the opening credits or anywhere.
Right.
Haven't heard anything. Don't know. But he's not listed.
Well,
that's just not right. I'm sorry. That's just not right.
I don't think he was involved to begin with. So just say it. I don't think.
Well,
Deborah is, but I don't think he had anything to really do with this new incarnation.
It was nice to hear her vocal at the beginning.
I was going to say the same thing.
That was great.
Yeah,
really nice to hear her do the Saga Cell.
Yeah, she provided the Saga Cell at the beginning, MJ, and I
also wonder if they're going to actually have Ziggy finally talk this season.
I don't even know what the deal is with Ziggy, to be honest.
Instead of just showing words on a screen.
Well, is she still a mole? Like I have no idea where that was going to begin with. So we talked about that. Like
yeah, we did.
Yeah, but
I think that got resolved when Martinez, went away, because the mole part was just where Ziggy was recording everything in the present, and then they could access it in the future, so they would know every move they made. So that's not even an issue anymore. So I don't think that's going to be a plot point anymore. I don't guess.
But is it really resolved? It's supposed to be, but is it? I mean, why can't it just start all over again?
Well, there's another question that I have that I'm going to bring up a little bit later, because we're not quite there yet. But can I bring one thing that I thought was really interesting into the conversation?
Yeah.
Is it's a metamorphically similar per se to how they were talking about fixing a radio, how he's the radio technician, Ben as Perez is their radio technician, and he's fixing this radio for them. And we brought up earlier that he was like, let's just stop talking about this, but before that he says, she asks him if he can fix it, and he's like, well, yeah, it looks like one of these old radios that I used to take apart and Frankenstein it back together. So yeah, I can fix it. So if he can fix something that was brand new in 1978, Ziggy should be, well, we know he can fix Ziggy, but
yeah,
it's kind of an interesting twist there that he's MacGyvering things even back in 1978.
I was just gonna bring that up, the MacGyver thing. I did kind of crack
his
up.
uncle.
I was like,
yeah.
You
have an uncle named MacGyver?
Who's MacGyver?
On my mother's side.
They're just going to go over a lot of people's heads, the younger generation, or they're going to think of the other MacGyver. I never saw the new MacGyver and don't want to, but
they're
well, that whole scene had a original series flavor to me, where Sam would say something about a piece of technology that was recently invented or hadn't been invented yet.
True.
Or just some pop culture reference that nobody else got because it was 30 years ahead of its time. But
right.
It was a nice touch. I like that part.
Yeah. We talk about
they kept doing that throughout the entire episode.
Yeah, they did.
Between the radio, MacGyver, and him saying, I know a person who would love to say thank you for all the work that you're doing right now. And she's like, you don't even know people in the future. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
What's wrong with you?
Hilarious.
What is wrong with you?
Yeah.
Can we talk about the music is just, it was like On the Road Again, Canned Heat, and then and Jumpin' Jack Flash.
Yeah.
Right.
I was like, oh, this is
They did use good music.
Yeah,
I will give them that.
Finally.
Good. Yeah. It was really good.
I do have another question though. So they're a ragtag bunch, right? One embezzled, one two smoked contraband in Vietnam, and she said Bailey got in trouble with the general. Well, we know why he got in trouble with the general, because he was a homosexual involved with his son. But and then they brought in feminism, which was important for that time period.
Right.
But all of those people in that small group, I could understand why they would think of them as disposable. We can't get rid of them, so we might as well use them.
Yeah. Right, yeah, because then we get and we get to the part within the story with the cargo, and we finally open it, and it's like, what is in this crate? And it's just a bunch of bricks. And that's when they realize they're just the decoy. So
and that brought up another thing for me, is that they had this big old long scene. It's a backflash with Ian and Jen and Ben when they find out that Ben has a crush on Addison. And then Ian puts in the codes into Ziggy so they could figure out.
Like the
and
old
they're
probability thing, yeah.
Yeah, the probability is 50-50. And Jen's like, she flipped a coin and it landed on the center. What's that?
He's like, I don't feel any better about this.
Right.
Something like that, right?
Yeah.
So it's just stuff like that whole scene was just about him trusting his gut.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So it took 5 minutes for him to trust his gut to break open the crate. I guess that's what you were saying earlier, Brian, about there were parts in the show that made it lag.
Yeah. For me, it did lag a little bit. Watching it a second and a third time, I like it better. But just the first, my first reaction was, it's pretty good. I'm middle of the road.
Yeah. I mean, it was a good like reintroduction to the show. Like you didn't need to know too much about the backstory, about like what happened in the previous season, so we didn't have to rely on that too much. Yeah.
I think the flashbacks probably had a lot to do with introducing people that maybe didn't see season 1 to seeing what's going on here, what's the relationship with Ben and Addison, that kind of thing, so that the story can move forward where it's headed.
Yeah.
His fiance.
Yeah. So I can't think of much else to say, but like other than I guess we can get into now like the spoiler territory. I guess is the big twist at the end is Ian finally shows up and he's like, where the heck have you been? And he figured out how to do the whole leap. Like he pretty much figured out what he was there to do. Like he didn't need anybody to tell him. He was like, and Ian looked so happy to see him. And I didn't think Ian looked right. Ben said something about you look different. I didn't notice that he looked all that different.
His hair was a little bit longer. His glasses were different.
The glasses were different? Okay.
Glasses were different, yeah.
Okay. And
he was wearing a trench coat.
Yeah, but Ian is always wearing something different.
I know, but
yeah. That was a little
which brought me to the question, so if Quantum Leap is shut down for 3 years, it was gone. Where is Ian projecting from? Is he projecting from Quantum Leap?
It's like
from the Quantum Leap actual project, or is he using
an Alexa?
Janice's,
I forgot. Yeah, Janice's project.
Right.
So which one is he using?
I'm assuming. I'm sure we'll find out in the next episode, but I'm assuming that they reactivate it. That
was my assumption too.
Maybe they locked on to Ben, and they found him, and that's probably who this other one of these new people is. I think, right? This guy Tom, who's going to be like overseeing the project. They probably, I don't know. I'm just assuming that something is going on with that they find. Something like you said. He's been gone for 3 years, so like, and Ben basically like jumped over those 3 years, I guess. I mean, it
seems like for him it's just instantaneous.
Right.
He doesn't know. Yeah, it's the next day for him. Yeah.
Which was what we assume was kind of happening with Sam as well, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even in the pilot episode of the original series, Al says we've been popping champagne for a week.
That's right.
It was instantaneous. So.
But presumably Sam has never gone that long. That it's been 3 years and what he didn't age at all.
Right.
Like he just. I had a crazy theory. I'm probably completely off the mark, but I had wondered if maybe the past had actually changed and it's still 2023, but maybe he started leaping earlier because of what happened in the finale. And it's a weird theory. I am probably so wrong. It's just something crazy, some crazy shit that I would come up with. So it would be too confusing for
you crazy stuff. What are
Yeah.
you talking about?
It would be too confusing for a general audience, though. I think so. I'm sure it is. We're in the perpetual future now. Like the original show was in the future, like a few years.
Right.
Didn't they show something in the trailer where he's back in
16.
16?
He is
Way back.
going to be way back. Yeah, we're gonna have fun talking about that.
How is that one gonna happen?
I don't know. We're gonna have fun talking about that one because I don't like that. I mean, I barely liked when he leaped back to when Ben leaped back to the Old West. I said it then. I'm like, that's going too far back too soon. This is going back centuries.
Exactly.
I understood Sam leaping into his
great-grandfather.
Great-grandfather because genetic.
And
actually that is proven in genetics, father to son, because Matt, my husband, was able to go back father to son, father and son, all the way back to the 1200s in his
lineage. tracing the ancestry.
Yeah.
I've done. I went down that rabbit hole too.
It's really cool.
Yes, it's interesting. I said that in my reaction.
Interesting.
Yeah, I said that in my reaction to the trailer, that if Ben starts going back and becoming a Roman gladiator or running away from dinosaurs, I think I'm checking out of the show. I'm not. That's too much for me.
I'm right there with you, Damon.
I like this show, I really do, but they are taking some liberties. I will admit now they're taking liberties with the rules. If they explained a little bit more, I wouldn't mind it so much. It's just, it is what it is, I guess.
We're not the writers.
Yeah.
Although we had some really good storylines.
Mm-hmm.
No joke.
Yeah. Speaking of which, you want to bring it up now? Yes.
Well, in just a minute, I will. Just a minute.
Yeah.
I have one more question about this episode. Where's the lead in for the next leap?
Yeah, there wasn't one.
Yeah.
You don't know where he's going or what's happening. There's just nothing.
I know they did that a few times last season. I feel like when there's some big revelation that happens, they don't want to just cut away to the next one, because admittedly, sometimes in the original show, the leap out was very awkward. Like there would be it would end on such a serious note, and then there'd be something so comedic that would take you out of the moment. Admittedly, I mean, that's the format of the old show, but sometimes it didn't work. We liked it, we loved that, but so maybe they're just using their judgment on that and saying, yeah, we don't want to, we want to leave people on this to get them to come back. I don't know. It is a little disappointing they're not. I mean, they do it most of the times, so I
miss the oh boy moments.
Yeah.
Those were the best parts.
Yeah, I know. Like, what would Ben really say though? He can't say oh boy, because that's Sam's line. I know they were like debating that in the beginning, like what's Ben gonna say? But this, I don't know. It's a different audience. I don't know. I can't think of anything.
I had a couple of. Sorry, I just had a couple of, I guess, nitpicks. If we can allow those. So the one that caught me, and it's still annoying me, was it Ronnie, the taller, kind of frizzier-haired brother? At some point, Ben was saying something, and he turns to him and says, "Oh, I can't even with you anymore," something to that effect. Well, the term "I can't even" is internet speak from like 10 years ago.
Good
that
point, Mike.
Since permeated into general parlance, but no one in 1978 was saying I can't even.
Mm-mm.
Good point.
It took me out of the moment. I went, no.
I missed that. That's a good point.
Yeah. That's only been around the last decade, not 40 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this show's taking a lot of liberties. I mean, there's some historical inaccuracies all over the place, really.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just trying to.
I suppose, but
I know
it kind of takes you out
you
of
do mention it occasionally, Brian.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like they go to all the trouble of putting you in the setting, and then they'll
take you out.
There'll be I'll call it a mistake, an unintentional thing.
Anachronistic, is that what it is? It's like it's something like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But then I also I talked about this when we watched the scene where they were driving the truck into the communications thing. Like they honestly would not have fencing or maybe guards around a base where they're launching missiles at overhead enemy airplanes. Like I know they said they were in the bunker launching these things, but why is there no security presence at all around this satellite dish?
Mm-hmm.
They just expect nobody to ever come out and try to attack it, I suppose. But then why have tripwires with landmines and minefields if you're also supposedly in friendly territory? Some things didn't quite
and they have to run 5 clicks east to get away and go through the whole mine thing again.
Yeah.
Across another one.
Yeah.
Yeah, weren't they saying something?
On the plus side,
yeah.
I was going to say I did like how they were hiding on the plane and then they all slid down to catch the Russians unawares. That was kind of a cool tactic. Like I was not expecting them to just slide down the fuselage. But
I don't know how the Russians didn't see them.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah.
And Greer wasn't up there. Where was she? She
right. Where was she hiding?
Mm-hmm.
Well, she came out with a gun after, I guess, but maybe. But when Ben came down, I don't know if anyone else notices, he did like the old Star Trek punch, the 2 fists on the back of the Russian, which doesn't work. I know it's kind of a theatrical thing that Star Trek made a trope out of, but I didn't expect to see that in Quantum Leap. Anyway, that's that's the good and the bad.
Yeah.
Maybe they should do the Vulcan pinch next time.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. The only other thing I'll say I noticed was I did the opening intro, the logo. I think they updated that a little bit. It looks a little bit better. It was like this. It actually looks, because I never actually said it, but the complaint I had was it always looked very flat with the Quantum Leap. And this there was a little bit. Yeah, it was a little bit more. There's something in the background there. I don't know what that was. It was like with that burst effect. I don't know what that is, but I don't know. It looks better. It's an improvement. And
I'd have to look back at it again.
Yeah, but that and the Saga Cell, which I hope that they keep. I hope that we hear Deborah now at the beginning. Maybe this is their answer. Like, you want to hear Deborah? Okay, we'll give her to you every episode. I don't mind.
On season 1, the opener had her, open the show, but then we didn't hear her again. So I don't know if it's just going to be, one every season or.
Yeah. I know they didn't list her name or anything. I mean, they did in the pilot. They said she was in the guest star. She was a guest star, and she only had that little bit that she said. So they didn't even list her name now. So maybe that means it. She'll be. I don't know. That would be a nice change of pace. I mean, I didn't mind Addison explaining stuff, but that would be like a nice little normal thing. I mean, it was like almost pretty much verbatim, like, striving to put right what
What once went wrong.
Yeah. I mean, it was pretty much verbatim. So it was like, that was for us, I think. That was.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure that was for us.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Okay, so you asked me a few minutes ago what this news was that I was going to let everybody know.
Yes.
The virtual seasons is coming back as of November the 16th.
Yay!
Yeah.
All right.
Yay.
So we will have new stories of Sam leaping. So if people want to put in a story, all they have to do is email me at mj at dark. Where do I want them to send it to?
I'll put
mjcogburn7@gmail.com.
Okay, yeah, I'll put links in the descriptions and all that stuff. And
Okay.
yeah, because we're pretty much wrapping up, and I'll throw it out there again. As you said, Brian, at the beginning, you are also going to be co-hosting the Quantum Leap After Show. I think it's officially called, right, with Albie and Hayden, right? It's the
Right.
YouTube. It's
For
the
the
YouTube
episode
part of the podcast. Of the
201.
Quantum Leap podcast.
Yeah, this one.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So you will be co-hosting that. I will put a link to that. I think
MJ, where can we find the virtual seasons?
Over at Al's place.
Oh wow.
At your website, my dear.
Mhm.
So you'll have to put that link in too, I guess.
Yes. That'll all go up there. Yeah, I think we're pretty much done talking about this episode. I think, right? We had some technical difficulties, but hopefully we have got a pretty good discussion going that can be edited together. And so we will try this again next week for the next episode. Hopefully we don't have the same problems. I've been working on I think we might get a couple of people that when we talked to last season, and they might join us in weeks to come. I've been working on getting some guests here and there. If you guys want to invite somebody, if you want to talk about a particular episode, the discussion is open for anybody who wants to join us. I'm only going to do, I think we should only do one per episode though, because 5 of us is pretty much, I think, the limit of what we should do. Amada will probably join us. I think there's one episode in particular that she will probably want to talk about. I have a suspicion, and it's probably the one that I don't want to talk about with the witches.
Yeah. How much you want to bet that'll be the Halloween episode this year?
I bet you
Probably.
I bet you it was. I think it airs in November, but I bet you it would have been if the season had started in September. It probably would have lined up with that. So I think it's like mid-November actually.
Okay.
Because we started late. I wouldn't be surprised if that was supposed to be the Halloween episode, that they were probably planning it accordingly, because I think it's episode 7. I think
7.
Okay.
I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
I think it's called this.
A kind of magic.
A kind of magic. Yeah, that's the standing theory. Is Matt Dale did a whole breakdown of the trailer, because he's the expert on Quantum Leap with his book has just shipped. I haven't gotten it yet. You got it, Brian.
It's amazing. I mean, I pulled it out of the shipping container it came in, and the thing weighs, exaggerating, but 50 pounds. It's great.
It can be used to kill somebody.
So much. Yeah, so much
over the head with.
Yeah, you could kill somebody with that. But you got to get that book when it comes back out on print on demand, because it's yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he's got some extra copies right now. He's got a wait list for that's coming out soon, and his Kickstarter for the 3rd book is coming very soon.
Mm-hmm.
Hint, hint. So get in on that.
I think a few of us will be contributing to that too. So
yes, I believe we are, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess that wraps it up. Yep. Leave your comments below what you thought of this on the. I think we're doing a YouTube, and I'm going to try to do audio as well, but who knows when that's happening. I got to put together the audio files and actually get something out. But if you are watching this on YouTube, leave your comments. Let us know what you thought. Be sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons. I am Damon. This is Mike.
Hi, Mike.
Ryan Greene and MJ Cogburn. And we'll talk to you next week for, what is it called again, Brian?
Ben and Teller.
Ben and Teller.
What?
Yeah.
Penn and Teller?
Ben
and Teller.
Ben and Teller.
They love to use Ben in the titles of the episodes, so it's Ben and Teller. I think he's a bank teller. I think something about a robbery. I think
so.
Something like that. It might be a more not as ambitious as this leap was, but I mean, I've heard it's still pretty good from the people that have seen the screeners. They say these first 3 episodes have been really good. So Ben and Teller is the next episode, and knock on wood, we won't have any technical difficulties. All right, we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.